For the day card today, I drew the 7 of Pentagrams, as you can see, from the Black Flame Tarot. Now the sevens, the 7 of Pentagrams, as I recall in the Crowley deck, I believe he associates that with the word failure. I don't necessarily think of it as a failure card, although failure may have come up in the process at some point. I don't think I would consider it a failure in and of itself. To start with, look at the colors here. We've got some green, we've got some blue, definitely good colors, ones that indicate some growth has happened. Growth, perhaps even specifically through receptivity, which we can often associate with one's intuition. Let me zoom in on that for a moment there, a little bit closer so we can get a better look. So I don't consider it a failure card. Maybe there has been an instance or two leading to this state, or getting into this state will lead to more clarity. It'll get us out from a failed state of some kind. But I also like to think of failure in itself in less of a negative connotation. I like to think of it as a successful learning opportunity. You figured something out that doesn't work. You now know more and can use that knowledge going forward. Good things, in my opinion. So the pentagrams have to do with environmental factors, so this can certainly include our internal environments, and what we've got going on inside ourselves and the different parts of ourselves that hopefully work together or that try to work together. But this, of course, also can refer, and often does, to situations and environments outside of ourselves. Think school, work, your clubs, your professional organizations, your home life. These all fall into the category of environments. And the 7 has us, having grown, moving into a more purposeful, meaningful use of or interaction with those environments. Now, as I have been doing lately, I'd like to look at what some other cards can tell us about this card, related cards, what they can tell us about the 7 of Pentagrams. And the first one that comes to mind here, I've got the 7 of Swords. We see that it has a veil over it. If we consider the swords as the intellectual suit, the intellectual side, the insightful side of the tarot, that gives us a clue. To get to this point, one has to unobstruct one's view. We can learn how to make use of our environments, and that shouldn't sound manipulative, especially if we want to consider this in the context of, say, a home life, or a marriage, or any interactions with people. We don't want to necessarily manipulate them, but we need to know, we need to understand and have an unobstructed view of the situation and of the expectations, what we bring to the table, and how we can make use of it. we can either make use of it, or it will probably make use of us unapologetically. So, we do it for our good, but we also do it for the good of the interaction with that environment overall. If we can keep it mutually beneficial, all the better. So, in order to do that, we may well need to do a little honest and, as much as possible, objective evaluation of some things, including ourselves. Definitely important and vital. Another one that I get a bit out of, and we won't go through all the sevens, but I would like to look at one more seven here from the Minor Arcana. If we look at the cups, what do we see? Well, we know that the cups definitely have to do with relationships, our interactions with the people, say, in the environment, under, consideration. But what do we notice about some of these cups? Well, some of them have been turned over. Now, that could mean a couple things, but by one means or another, let's say that it means that some relationship that pertains, let's say in this case, to the environment under consideration, has been knocked off balance. Now, we can do that on purpose if we find that an interaction has been less than productive or even counterproductive. But we also may just experience that. It may not come under our control. So we do well to join these forces, to let them balance each other out. Have that unobstructed view. Have that sword cut through that veil a little bit so that we can honestly evaluate both the relationships, the interactions that we have in the environment, and how they affect the environment. I lied, not intentionally. I said we weren't going to look at all the sevens, but I can't help but bring into the equation the need for creative thinking in these instances. This balances, the wands balance the swords. We have the very intellectual, analytical side, and then we have the creative, let's make something new, let's turn this difficult circumstance into an advantage. Let's see how we can make this keep working for us. These all actually work together, and you'll notice, in this case, the most vibrantly colored of the sevens. We've got definitely the Seven of Wands. The growth and the receptivity relate and interact really well with the purple on this card, because the purple represents wisdom. And you need all of these parts in your life working together to really get wisdom, to understand how things work together, and to see how you can move things in a particular direction. Again, in this case, a more meaningful, purposeful direction. So get in touch with those different aspects of the self. See which ones have a bit more strength, see which ones need a bit more work, and get to seeing how you can weave those together for your benefit. I want to keep this relatively short, so I will end this in just a moment, but I do want to say, as always, I would appreciate if you would subscribe. That'll make sure that you get the updates as soon as I make them. And because the YouTube channel only gets updated a few times a week, I also encourage you to please follow me on the Instagram and Facebook accounts listed in the description. Those get updated throughout the day, pretty much every day. And finally, please leave some comments, leave some thoughts, questions, other observations. I can't possibly know everything. I'd love to know what your impressions were. Until next time, have a wonderful day and keep transforming, folks.